We'll go ahead and resume. I understand that we're going to record and upload a recording of the meeting later. Is that correct? Oh, so we are streaming now. Okay, great. All right then. Okay, so back to where we were. Commissioner reports. Does anyone have anything they'd like to report on this month? Among the commissioners, that is. Okay. Hearing nothing, we'll go to the executive director report with Cornell Wesley.
Thank you, Chair Cruz. I want to open my comments by noting that last Wednesday, Portland City Council unanimously reappointed Commissioners Marcelino Alvarez and Eric Kress to the Prosper Portland Board. Thank you both gentlemen for your service. Your experience and perspectives are invaluable, and we are fortunate to have you on this board. I also want to thank Chair Cruz, Shabri Vickers, Hope Whitney, Eric Knoll, Ali Schweiger, Angela Rico, Yume Delgado, and many other folks on our team for working to make the reappointment process as smooth as possible. Again, congratulations to both of you, and thank you for your service. Commissioners, I'm pleased to share that I'm now at the 1-year mark serving as the Executive Director of Prosper Portland. I can say that it has been an eventful year for me and my family. I have attended a lot of meetings, had the opportunity to learn so much. I'm still learning each day, and I'm grateful for the support while I've worked to find my way. I appreciate all the work the agency has done over the past 10 years to lean into equity, focus on community, creatively support small businesses, and serve a vital role for the city. I also recognize and value the level of commitment and professionalism inherent in this agency and the support I've received from this board. As I look toward the future and the work before us, I want you to know that it is rooted in 5 core values. And these 5 core values will emanate from this agency. They are customer service, efficiency, effectiveness, transparency, and accountability. These aren't 5 separate initiatives. They are one operating discipline, and they are central to our work. In the weeks to come, I will share more on both what's next, what I view as the immediate next steps for the agency, and in the future, meaning the work we're just starting to plan for. Suffice to say, I'm very excited to begin the next chapter for Prosper Portland. Commissioners and staff, thank you all for your leadership and partnership. I am bullish on our future and our ability to deliver for Portland. I have a few events I want to quickly highlight, starting with Saturday, July 18th. I was in Gateway for the opening of REAP's new behavioral health clinical building. REAP provides year-round leadership development programs targeting low-income and culturally diverse youth, designed to break cycles of educational inequity and create avenues to college and career. As part of the event, I hosted a Q&A panel during REAP's annual Next Gen Market with the REAP Young Entrepreneurs Program. Many thanks to Councilor Loretta Smith, Shabri Vickers, and Joel Devilcourt for participating in this great event. On Friday, July 24th, I participated in the groundbreaking event for the Perry, a new 171-unit housing development now under construction in Lentz. Prosper Portland provided a $10 million loan for this project, leveraging 4 times that amount in private investment to build an attractive, modern property with a mixture of workforce housing and affordable units. This property will help activate commercial spaces at 92nd and Foster and enhance the mixed-use character of this street. My thanks to the Palindrome development team for their partnership, not only with this project, but throughout Lentz. I also want, once again, to recognize Shabri Vickers, Brian Moore, Jennifer Manhart, Reina Villegas, and Yume Delgado for their work on this project. Now, next week, I'm participating in 2 events that I'm excited about. On Tuesday, August 18th, I'll join project partners and local officials for the grand opening of OpConnect's new facility in the Central East Side. Commissioners Dexter Turner, OpConnect CEO, appeared before the board in March 25, discussing his electric vehicle charging solutions company. I'm proud of the support Prosper Portland provided to OpConnect and look forward to celebrating the milestones next week. Many thanks to Andrew Fitzpatrick, Pam Neal, Catherine Unell for their leadership and ongoing support for this rapidly growing local company. Then on Thursday, August 20th, I participate in the opening event of PDX Hip Hop Week with the Block Party. This event is set for 3 p.m. at Portland City Hall outside Plaza. I encourage everyone to stop by and enjoy this amazing event that highlights hip hop as a musical phenomenon, art form, and community celebration. Many thanks once again to Shabri Vickers, Amanda Park, and Michelle Comer for leading Prosper Portland's work on this outstanding annual event. Finally, I am pleased to introduce some new employees we've recently welcomed to the agency. Lisa Patinati is the agency's new Director of Real Estate and Community Development, leading the agency's urban development efforts in Portland's 13 TIF districts. Director Patinati is a strategic enterprise leader with an extensive background in large-scale real estate and construction finance. As Deputy General Counsel for the Oregon State Treasury, she helped negotiate financial strategies and public-private programs for the state's $140+ billion investment portfolio. Director Patinati holds a JD from American University, Washington College of Law, and a BA from University of Penn. She currently serves on the boards of Metropolitan Family Service and Waterstone. Lisa, will you please stand and be recognized? Welcome to Prosper once again, and thank you for your service. Jenna Jallo, all right, that's an inside joke, is the agency's new Director of Capital Access, overseeing the agency's lending and grant-making work. Director Jallo holds a master's degree from Johns Hopkins School of Advanced International Studies and a BA from Colgate University. She has more than 20 years' experience designing investment programs and strategic partnerships that leverage grants and loans to advance inclusive economic opportunity and social impact, most recently serving as Regional Investment Director for USAID in West Africa. Please, JD, will you stand and be recognized? Thank you once again. Welcome to Prosper. I appreciate your willingness to serve. Within the Capital Access Department, Shelly Hack will serve as Interim Investment Manager for 6 months beginning in July 6th. The investment team will support our loan portfolio, business finance tools, investment strategies, borrower support, portfolio monitoring, and related financial stewardship work. This structure will also support stronger coordination between grants and investment tools, particularly where projects or partners may involve grants, loans, credit enhancements, layered financing, or other forms of Prosper Portland support. Shelly, thank you for your support. Will you please stand and be recognized? Also within the Capital Access team, Sarah Harpole will serve as Interim Grants Manager for 6 months beginning July 6th. This team will play an important role in building a strong agency-wide grants infrastructure that supports effective program design, award administration, monitoring, reporting, compliance, documentation, and closeout. In addition to this new role, Sarah will continue leading the agency's work with the Broadway Corridor development. Needless to say, I truly appreciate Sarah's willingness to lead on several of the most important initiatives in our portfolio. I don't see Sarah present, but please, let's acknowledge her in her absence. Sarah Harpole. Valentina Barrett joined the grants team. Valentina recently graduated from the Pacific University MBA program and has supported teams in Washington County and the city of Hillsborough with complex grants, contracts and programs in housing service and health and human services. Valentina will play an integral role in strengthening internal efficiency, accountability, and continued customer service on the new grants team. Valentina, please stand. Welcome to Prosper. Thank you for your willingness to serve. And finally, Atira Kim, who just got a new nickname, we won't say it out loud, has joined Prosper Portland as our new Human Resources Supervisor. In this role, Atira will help strengthen the day-to-day delivery of HR services across the agency, serving as a key resource for employee and labor relations, workplace concerns, conflict resolution, performance management, leave and accommodation administration, policy interpretation, and other HR matters. She holds a master's degree in conflict resolution, is a SHRM certified professional, and has earned both the SHRM Workplace Investigation Specialty Credential and a Woman in Leadership certification. Atira, will you please stand? Once again, Atira, welcome to Prosper Portland, and thank you for your willingness to serve. Chair Cruz, that concludes the ED report.
Thanks very much, Cornell. And welcome to our new employees, and congratulations to Sarah and Shelly. Just really happy to have all of you on the team. You're all great, super impressive resumes and backgrounds, and great work. So thanks so much for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you. Before we end the reporting phase of our meeting today. I'd like to say a few words about something that's not on the agenda, but I know is something that has been on folks' minds around town. Everybody probably saw this in the press, and that's the layoffs at Daimler Truck North America. Daimler has been a key partner with Prosper for quite a while now, and we're just very disappointed with the layoffs there. Most folks know that they're going to be closing down a long-standing manufacturing facility here in Portland, which will affect about 380 jobs. But at the same time, they're going to be retaining a sizable number of jobs in their HQ and engineering areas, about 2,600 total jobs there. In addition, they just completed a $40 million Corp 42 building project to house their engineering staff out on Swan Island. And this is a project that Prosper and the city have been involved with for about 3 years now. So we were very pleased to see that come to fruition just recently. We were out there a couple weeks ago to kind of celebrate that event. But unfortunately, quickly on its heels, we learned of the layoffs, and that's disappointing. So we just want to express our appreciation for a continued partnership with Daimler. We hope that we can work together, perhaps to look for other opportunities to work with them. But we also want to make sure that on the board's behalf, I'd like to make sure that it's clear what Prosper's goal is, and that is we really want to look for more manufacturing opportunities in Portland. We want to try to support our existing manufacturers here and hopefully draw new manufacturers to the region, to Portland. So as a board, we're calling on the staff and hoping that the staff will help us engage with those companies and hopefully draw in some new companies to the extent that we can with the constraints that we have. So anyway, just wanted to identify that this is something that has not gone unnoticed by Prosper. We have very strong and mixed feelings about it, but we look forward to some opportunities in the future. So thank you for bearing with me, and appreciate your time allowing me to comment about that. Okay, next up we have meeting minutes. I would call for a motion to approve the July 13, 2026 minutes. Would somebody like to make that motion? Motion to approve. Thank you so much. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, minutes are approved. Thank you. And Hannah, do we have anybody signed up for public testimony? Yes, we do. Okay, great. I will repeat that if the public wants to, you can provide comments to the commission by emailing prospercommissioners@prosperportland.us. Again, prospercommissioners@prosperportland.us. Okay, so our first regular agenda item is an action item, the election of officers. And as our first in-person meeting of the fiscal year, as required by Prosper Portland bylaws, we will elect officer positions of chair, vice chair, and treasurer. Would someone on the board like to make a motion to do so?
So moved.
So second.
Okay, do you want to say who will be?
Yeah, I'll
Yes.
make a, sorry, jump the gun.
Oh, sorry.
You make a motion to nominate Gustavo Cruz as chair.
Thank you. And
Second.
Or is it a slate or one at a
I
time?
think it's Slate, yeah.
Okay, so I'll
Okay.
Oh,
motion to nominate Commissioner Studemeyer Wesley as vice chair and
you mean Stoudemire?
Meyer, sorry about that, and Commissioner Alvarez as treasurer.
Great, thank you very
I'd
much.
like to second that motion, Eric. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Thanks to both of you. Does anybody have any discussion they would like to initiate on that? If not, we'll just go ahead and vote on the slate of officers. Okay. All those in favor of that motion and slate?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, passes unanimously. Thank you. And then one additional housekeeping item, as board chair and member of of Prosper Portland's Standing Audit Committee pursuant to Board Resolution 6112, I'd like to reappoint Commissioner Stoudemire Wesley to the Prosper Portland Audit Committee for this fiscal year. So welcome back, Commissioner Stoudemire Wesley.
Oh, I'm so honored. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
It's a
It's
treat.
such an exciting committee.
Serena and I do this every year. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so that's our housekeeping for this meeting. Thanks so much. Okay, next up, item 7. This is an action item authorizing an intergovernmental agreement with the City of Portland for public finance and treasury services. And Tony Barnes will present on this. Thank you, Tony. Welcome.
I'm sorry, did the sound just go out?
Is your mic on?
There we go, we're on.
Excellent.
Okay.
Good afternoon. So presentations online. So I'm Tony Barnes, Prosper Portland CFO, and I'm here to present a request to authorize an intergovernmental agreement with the City of Portland Office of the CFO to provide a 5-year agreement for all public finance and treasury activities. Is the PowerPoint online? Oh, thanks. There we go. Thank you. So as background, all tax increment finance is issued and held by the city. The city's Office of the CFO facilitates and manages all these services. Also, all treasury services, including banking and investment, cash on hand for Prosper Portland Cash is managed by the city in accordance with the city charter. Treasury services are required to facilitate all of Prosper Portland's banking activity and all transactions. All earned interest and investment income on cash held is in turn posted to Prosper Portland's accounts. And we in turn allocate those investment earnings across all of Prosper Portland's funds based on fund balances, all the TIF districts and other funds. Prosper Portland historically has entered into an intergovernmental agreement for these services every year. The last 5-year agreement expired this summer, and over the course of the last 5 years, Prosper paid approximately $940,000 for the 5-year period for debt management services and $140,000 for treasury services during that period. Debt management during that period facilitated the issuance of about $241 million of tax increment debt proceeds for those services. The key deliverables of the IGA, as outlined in the agreement and the exhibit, include debt planning, debt transaction management, debt feasibility analysis, and special project assistance related to complex projects, compliance guidance regarding the use of tax increment debt proceeds, administration of outside contracts for debt management, including bond counsel, management and support of all banking, merchant card, investment management services, as requested by Prosper Portland. And the total 5-year amount of the IGA is $1.3 million. However, this amount is divided into 2 specific components. One is the direct services of $1,050,000 that would support staffing and services directly at the City of Portland, Office of the CFO within the debt management and treasury services area. I estimate that annual fee will range between $150,000 and $250,000 per year based on the amount of service required in any given year. It will fluctuate from year to year based on the amount of tax increment debt being issued over the course of the 5-year contract and the amount of engagement for the management of that debt. And then the balance of the contract over 5 years is up to $250,000 for any third-party fees, and this will only be incurred based on specific bond or line of credit issuances that we move forward with. The IGA provides for an annual process where Prosper Portland and the Office of the CFO at the city will scope the upcoming fiscal year as part of the budget process, both for recurring services and unique events. that are anticipated in the work plan for the following year, and that will determine an annual amount that is agreed upon within that 5-year scope. And that completes my presentation. I'd be happy to take any questions on the proposed agreement.
All right, thank you very much, Tony. Appreciate the report and summary. Would any of the commissioners like to ask any questions or discuss? Okay. Oh,
I
great.
just had a, oh, is that okay, Tavo?
Yes, please go ahead.
Sorry, I just had a question on the return, Tony, because I wanted to ask if, I didn't see it in the documents that I looked at, but they strive to get the same return as the rest of the city's investments, and they don't have a return target that's outside of that, right?
Commissioner, the return target is the same as the city of Portland. Our cash is invested with the same portfolio as the city of Portland. I think the average yield last fiscal year was in the area of 3.8% on average. Is that answering your question? Was it about return on cash held?
Yeah, that is answering my question. Sorry. And then my other question is, it follows the same investment policies as the city of Portland then?
That's correct.
Because they're commingled together. Okay, thank you. Those are my questions.
Great, thank you so much. Any other comments or questions? Okay, hearing nothing then, would somebody like to make a motion approving resolution number 7656, authorizing this IGA?
I make the motion to approve.
Thank you. Do I have a second? Thank you.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Aye.
passes unanimously. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
Tony.
Thanks.
Appreciate that. Okay, our next item is an information item. This is an update on implementation of the 2024 Gateway Action Plan through construction of a soccer field at Northeast 99th and Northeast Pacific Street in the Gateway Regional Center Tax Increment Finance District. And Brian Moore, Development Manager, and Joel Devilcourt, Project Manager, will present. So welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you, Chair Cruz, Commissioners, Executive Director Wesley. I'm Brian Moore, Development Manager, and this is Joel Devilcourt here to bring this exciting informational item regarding the Gateway Soccer Field. Joel?
Thank you, Brian. Good afternoon, Chair Cruz and Commissioners, some of whom I'm just getting to know. It's welcome to our exciting work. We're excited to present to you the Gateway Soccer Field today as an information item. In this presentation, we will cover the project context and background, the estimated budget and timeline, an introduction to our partners, who will also be a part of our invited testimony. So we're very excited about their participation. They're back here, group of wonderful folks who are working on engaging youth throughout the city and region. This is a key project that emerged as a priority out of the 2024 action planning process for the Gateway TIF District. And so I want to walk you through some of the background here. Hopefully you can see that. Going back to the origins of the district, the City Council adopted the Gateway Regional TIF District in 2001. Among many years of transportation investments in the new Gateway Transit Center, David Douglas School District acquired the former Elks Club property at 99th and Pacific. Following that acquisition, they developed a conceptual site plan to support the future development of an elementary school in 2018. And on the next slide, we're going to actually see that conceptual development. In 2024, Prosper Portland and the City Council adopted the 2024 Gateway Action Plan, which included the priority of activating vacant properties with capital improvements such as sports fields that would benefit the community. Shortly after adoption of the action plan, Unity Football Training and Street Soccer USA expressed interest in partnering on the development of an economically accessible soccer field. As a sign of their commitment, they entered into an MOU to partner with each other to move the project forward. With their own funding, they secured AKS Engineering and Forestry to develop a site plan for the soccer field that was ultimately presented to David Douglas and approved by their board in May of this year. This you will see here, a little inset on the left is the Gateway TIF District, and on the right is the 2018 David Douglas Conceptual Site Plan. This site plan was developed at that point in time to show a proposed school and adjacent development. On the left side of the map, you can see that it includes a soccer field just north of the elementary school, just in the middle of that property, a design which informed our proposal's field location and scale. This site plan also shows the planned extension of Northeast 100th Avenue east of the school and soccer field, and a conceptual private development of the vacant lot east of 100th Avenue, now which Prosper Portland owns. Catching up, there we go. Focusing back here on what we are here for today, this is the school district site and proposed plan, which is a result of the design effort led by Street Soccer USA, Unity Football, and AKS Engineering. The main soccer field or pitch is the large cross-hatched gray area in the middle. Phase 1 will also include landscaping around the field and retreating the existing parking lot at the southern end of the field. Phase 2 would expand to include a paved plaza that may include some modular structures for indoor classroom space and storage equipment, as well as minor improvements to the park-like area to the north, which we call the Pocket Park. And it would make a comfortable place for families and spectators to watch the activity and stay cool and shaded in summer months. Ideally, Phase 2 would also include a mini pitch for additional on-site programming, which may be additional soccer activity or other things that are programmed with Street Soccer USA to include other types of soccer activity and other sports, which is very exciting. Starting from the original commitment identified in the 2024 Gateway Action Plan, we have worked with Street Soccer USA and the team to develop a more realistic budget given the site conditions. So I will give you a little under the hood into the sources and uses of that. So just talking about funding for a second. On the upper left-hand side, Prosper is committing approximately 80% of the Phase 1 construction funding with TIF funds. 1.5 million of these TIF funds were adopted as part of the 2024 Gateway Action Plan budget. The remaining TIF funds come from flexible infrastructure dollars in the action plan and from fiscal year 25-26 rollover grant funds. Our budget, as developed by AKS Engineering, includes up to a 25% contingency. Given the uncertainty regarding things like tree removal, underground utilities, and the overall size of the site, the team believes that a conservative contingency would best mitigate those risks. And the use of these contingency funds are structured to constrain any kind of ballooning costs, as we know that's a big deal right now, while also maintaining maximum flexibility as the project moves through permitting and construction. Speaking of which, we have a brief timeline here, starting with the site plan, design, and scoping that occurred in 2025 and early 26. We took the conceptual site plans to the David Douglas School Board in May. And this fall, we are introducing the project to you right now, and we'll come back for approval once we have finalized all the agreements with the school district. And then the team can move forward with final design, permitting, and then into construction. And we hope that would happen within the spring months of 2027, Q1, Q2. We are very excited to welcome some of our partners today to provide testimony, but I wanted to provide a brief overview of the organizations involved and their respective roles in the project. As you see on this slide, we have our three partners. David Douglas serves a community population of approximately 53,000 people in East Portland, with one of the most diverse student populations in the state of Oregon, and their role will be as landowner partner. Street Soccer USA is an established national nonprofit soccer organization that has extensive experience in the construction and operation of soccer fields across the country. The organization is based in Brooklyn, New York, with a Portland-based local chapter, and their role will be as primary operator and sublessee. Unity Football Training is a Portland-based nonprofit soccer organization focused on delivering youth soccer training to underserved communities, and their role is operational partner. And I want to feature one. I had a lot of images here. We nailed it down to one. So Street Soccer USA has built and operated numerous successful soccer fields across the country. I wanted to highlight this one in New York City, not only for its wonderful neighborhood urban design and site activation. As you can see, there's a lot going on around it, but also because they were able to connect youth to some of the country's greatest soccer talent. In this case, Tim Howard, who is featured here, the U.S. national team's 3-time World Cup goalie, was featured at their grand opening. And we hope that this Gateway Soccer Field highlights the enthusiasm, the energy, and the talent in East Portland. And we hope this field will continue to inspire both those in East Portland and citywide, and hopefully even regionally and nationally for many years to come. So now I want to turn it over to our partners who will be providing some brief testimony. Chair Cruz, happy to welcome you to invite them up to the dais.
Great, well, thank you. I understand that we have invited testimony from Street Soccer USA, Saul Meneses-Zurita, Program Manager, and Chris Hall, Portland Board Chair. Then we also have from Unity Football Training, Wandi Ali, the Executive Director as well. So, thanks very much for joining us today.
Hello, my name is Saul Meneses-Zurita. Thank you so much for having me here. It's a real pleasure. Just a little bit about me. I'm the program manager for Street Soccer PDX. I've been with this wonderful organization for 5 years now. I've had the pleasure of being in the program as a youth and now taking on more responsibility and a bigger role with the organization. I'm very excited to be working with you guys and excited to bring this project to Portland. We've been working with a lot of amazing talent and amazing group of youth all across Portland, and we just want to continue working with you guys, and happy to answer any questions, but also explain more of what we do.
Hi, my name is Chris Hall. I've been involved with the local Portland chapter of Street Soccer USA for approximately 10 years now. I was a soccer player in college, all my kids, et cetera, so it is in the blood, as we say. I'm here really to kind of give you some background, a little bit about the national organization and what we can bring to the table in terms of running the field and programming and that kind of like. So Street Soccer was founded about 15 years ago or so out of Brooklyn, New York, 2 brothers. And they're using soccer as a tool to fight poverty, strengthen communities, and create opportunity for young people and families. The model is combining trained coaches, consistent programming, safe and accessible places, access to opportunities, and connections to education, employment, and community resources. It's a simple belief at the national organization. Where you live and what your family earns should not determine whether you have access to the opportunities, relationships, and sense of belonging that sports can provide. Today, the national organization is operating in more than 20 cities across the United States. We serve approximately 75,000 participants annually. And work with 300 community-based partners and have trained and employed over 600 coaches from the neighborhoods in which we work. In the past 18 months or so, they've come up with developed a new initiative called the Street Soccer Park Initiative. And they have partnered with Visa and Bank of America to provide 16 currently new permanent, high-quality soccer spaces in underserved communities and paired those facilities with year-round programming. In addition, they partnered obviously with the 2026 World Cup and FIFA this past June and July and provided host communities and programming in each of the U.S. World Cup cities. We've been, the Portland chapter has been here, I've been involved for 10 years. It was loosely involved prior to that, working with Outside In. We partner with other organizations to help our youth and homeless communities in getting services that they may need. With that in mind, I'll stop my comments there and let you ask questions.
Hello, everybody. My name is Wandi Ali. I am the executive director and founder of Unity Football Training. Man, before I move on with the program, with Unity. Just want to say this is amazing. This is an amazing place to be, amazing opportunity, and just to be here itself took a while. I never really imagined it to be sitting in front of the the Board of Commissioners 6 years later. So I am grateful to be sitting in front of you guys. For Unity, Unity football training started in 2019 as a camp. It was in the summer of 2019 and after the camp, we saw the faces of the kids. We saw the joy. We saw the community. We saw a lot of things within that week of camp, and then by the grace of God, we made the commitment to move on and start a year-round soccer program. So the picture you see on the screen there is right after COVID. Right after COVID, we started a weekly training program so that the community and the kids can come and be part of something. And then since then, obviously after COVID, things were, was closed down a little bit. But after a while, when things started opening up, we started using parks. And ever since then, we've been using parks every week, every year until today. So this moment right here, it's huge for a program like ours because in the east side of Portland, we don't have a lot of this opportunity. We don't have a space where we can call home. We don't have a place for the community to come and be part of something positive. So I just want to emphasize a little bit more on belonging because the east side of Portland, to me, I consider it as the forgotten community a little bit. And so with Prosper Portland and street soccer, coming together to build something for the community and Unity football training programming, it's an eye-opening. It's an eye-opening for a lot of reasons. So thank you.
Great. Thank you, and thanks to all of you for joining us today. Would the commissioners like to ask any questions or make any comments?
Yeah, thank you.
Please.
First of all, congratulations on making it to this point, and thank you for all your efforts. Putting this program together, it seems aligned with what we want to do with our mission. Just a couple questions, just general. Will Unity and street soccer have exclusive use or of the site of the field, or is it generally open to community, or how is that handled?
So as part of the sublease, we're going to have an operations and maintenance plan, and as part of that operations plan, we will essentially be working out the details of how that will flow. There will be free public play, absolutely, with Street Soccer USA likely having on-site staff there, but either supervised or unsupervised. And then most of the other activities will be programmed between the two other organizations. We were invited by the school district to welcome additional organizations to potentially program as they find time throughout the scheduling. So I think there's a good amount that will be programmed. There may be as well some flexibility for welcoming other East Portland groups. And so I think it's going to be in front of you when the final package comes. You'll have a little bit of a closer eye on what that looks like, but I believe there will be significant amounts of free play.
Thank you. One other question. Well, it sounds like the mission encompasses this, but I'm just curious if we'll have additional assurances within the lease or agreements that the programs will continue to be both affordable and accessible to the communities within the Gateway District and to those children and families that are there. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So everything we do is through our new strategy of a free-to-play system. Typically, it's a pay-to-play system in the U.S., so everything we do for our youth participants is free, from camps, classes, tournaments, also creating teams so they can join in competitive leagues or recreational leagues, or even just an open play for friends or a group of students from a certain community or club or team. So, yes.
Thank you.
Great. Did any of the commissioners online have any
So,
comments?
yeah. So when I think just to, I have similar concerns, I think to Commissioner Kress on the sort of pay to play system in the United States and us investing in a pay to play system and locking out a community. So I want to just make sure like all of these terms are going to be written in. We'll see these terms as they come back written into the lease with these partners. Is my question to the staff.
Yeah, I would be
And then
happy.
my second,
sorry.
oh, sorry. And then my second question is what is the school district's role in being part of this as in an ongoing role?
Thank you for those questions, Commissioner. I'm going to answer for a little bit on your first question, and then I'm actually going to hand it to Wandy for a moment just to talk a little bit about the pay-to-play effect on the history of this project. Want to be really clear that that was actually the point of this. It's something that in Wandy approaching me was saying how many times he'd been displaced from various parks and schools and other locations losing their lights at certain hours and not being able to effectively have their programming continue. So Wandy, I'll turn that over to you a second, just to answer the other one before I forget about it. And now I think I forgot about it. Oh my goodness.
Sorry, the school district's ongoing
Yes,
role.
the school district's ongoing role. So we are going to be continuing our negotiations with the school district before we bring you the final package. Right now, they are landowners, so they would be leasing to Prosper Portland, and we would then be subleasing to Street Soccer USA. So that is how it is currently constructed. And so if there's any other questions about that, I can happy to answer that. But that's kind of like it's a pass-through effect. Ultimately, that was a choice by the David Douglas School Board, which was to maintain Prosper as the lead master lessee for continuity and consistency throughout the terms of what will be a 10-year lease. But I wanted to have Wandy have a moment to talk about that.
Yeah, thank you. So the whole idea of Unity football training was created to challenge the pay-to-play system. Because me personally, I've have so many years of experiences playing soccer. I grew up in Portland. And growing up in Portland, there was a few clubs back then. Westside Metros, FC Portland, and a few others. And so to be part of that organization, you either have to pay a lot of money or you have to be invited. And to be invited, you have to be extremely good. So for me, sometimes I would go to like one of those camps and ask to see if I can be part of the camp, and afterwards maybe I can collect the balls, cones, and stuff like that. And sometimes I'll get the okay, sometimes it'd be like, no, it's a private session. So fast forward, you know, as I continue to play through parks and Sunday leagues in high school, I got an opportunity to play college. NAIA Full Ride Scholarship, became the Rookie of the Year. So like throughout the whole that whole experience, I've learned a lot of good. I've gained a lot of good things. Learned a lot about what it means to create a community and how important it is for kids to have a place they can belong without having to stress about, how much it costs or who's gonna give me a ride. And there's a lot of things that goes behind the idea of like, raising a child, in the right way. So because of that, because of my background is the main reason why I created Unity Football Training to challenge the pay-to-play system. So our organization is based off of donations. So we don't force kids and parents to pay money to be part of the program. We find different ways, donors, grants here and there. And we also create different programming throughout the whole year. In fact, we, because of our commitment, we have about 5 kids that tried out for the Timbers Discovery Program, and they're part of that journey. So, we don't just create a space, we also encourage these kids to actually excel in it and challenge teams from the play-to-play system through tournaments, leagues, throughout the whole year.
Great, thank you so much. Any other?
I just want to give a shout out to the staff for finding these partners as we move forward on this. Like, I think this is one of the most incredible things that our city could be doing right now around challenging a system that is I think that Wandy just talked about holding kids back, and maybe it's for my own selfish reasons that I for sure would love to see more gold medalists and World Cup holders coming out of the United States on the men's and the women's team. So thanks for kicking that off.
Great,
Thank you, Commissioner.
thank you.
I would like to add, are there going to be some infrastructure in place to make sure that it doesn't transition to go more for folks with money more so than what it is for the community, making sure that that framework is there so that it's sustainable?
Yeah, and maybe this is again me turning it over to one of our partners with a little bit of context up front. The idea again of the operations and maintenance plan, it comes along with a staffing and construction management plan. So those two plans will be baked in as part of the sublease. So those will be contractual obligations for Street Soccer USA, and part of that is that their 10-year commitment to maintaining that programming is a strong part of this. And that's one of the reasons why we have this great relationship between the two organizations. So I don't know, Saul, if you want to say just a few words to that.
Yeah, absolutely. We've been in Portland for probably over 10 years now, and we've consistently just continued to grow. When COVID happened, it did kind of go down a little, but we've been able to slowly grow more and more. The biggest thing that's been holding us back is finding a reliable field space, just like a lot of other organizations that we can call home and run all our programs through it. So now with this option, it makes us be able to work with more people and continue to grow more and more. We've already been growing more and more with our partners, student participation, expanding more and more soccer and making sure it's affordable and free to everybody. It'll also allow us to bring in more partners that we've worked with that are on bigger scales that want to keep helping communities that are struggling and grow men's and women's soccer. So absolutely.
So you all will have the first place when it comes to priority. The kids would have the first place. I guess that's what I'm asking, though.
Yes, yes. The kids have priority, of course. All of our programs are mostly for the youth. We do classes, tournaments, and camps, and especially during the summer times, we want to make sure they have an outlet so they can come out, be with friends, and stay off the streets and not be doing anything that they don't need to.
Thanks and great work, you all.
This is all
Thank you.
great. Just one quick question about staffing. Are you mostly funded through donations then and sponsorships? Is that mostly what drives the organization?
Yeah, donations, grants, sponsorships, corporate sponsors, as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
great.
So everything.
Thank you. Any other comments from the commissioners? Okay, well, I would just add, I just think this is just a super project. It's really exciting, great for the community. You know, this is so important for kids, particularly in underserved communities. It's just really awesome. And personally, I'm super jealous. I wish we could do something like this for rugby too, but this is great.
You never know,
So, yeah.
Chair Cruz, we could get some rugby activity
Yes.
in there somehow.
That'd be great.
Thank you all so
But
much.
really, thanks so much for coming. Really appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right, next up, we have an executive session. So if folks could prepare to leave the room, that would be great. I'll read a little item here. The Prosper Portland Board will now meet in executive session pursuant to Oregon Revised Statute 192.6602E and F to conduct deliberations with persons designated by the governing body to negotiate real property transactions and to consider information or records that are exempt by law from public inspection. Representatives of the news media and designated staff are allowed to attend the executive session. All other members of the audience are asked to leave the room. Representatives of the news media are specifically directed not to report on any of the deliberations during the executive session.